It's your Monday show coming at ya, drive time. Me and Scooter. Matty Ice is trying to come in right now. He's having some technical difficulties, so he told me to go ahead and get us started with it. I hope you guys don't mind. Scooter, how you doing?
I'm doing great. It was a beautiful Monday today, and it's picking up. The weather is kind of nice out today.
The weather is very nice.
It got to almost 70.
I dressed for earlier Ohio, and I haven't changed yet. It's like 75 here, I think. Let's see here. Am I able to do this?
Oh, is that him?
Yes.
Oh my Lord!
Oh my Lord!
We're here as a guest, though, so Sarah, you're running the board.
Okay, that's fine.
Matty Ice is a guest.
I will.
You just run the board, and then if I ever get the code from the guys, then we can I can hit it and change it over. But for now, we're going to go with banners. So, but I'll still run the show. You just hit the banners and do the comments because I'm not going to be able to do those.
I can do that.
Well, welcome, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, to this live edition of Drive Time here on March 30th, our last episode of March. Can you believe it, guys, that we're already here in March? So as you can see, having some fun connection issues, but we are here. So hopefully everyone can hear me okay. Scooter, how you doing? I know how Showtime's doing because she just left here like about 12 hours ago. So yeah,
that was cool. I saw some pics. That was awesome that you guys got together. So that's always good to see your parents and your kids, of course, too. So good job. Good. Yeah, I'm doing great. I was just telling Showtime that the weather's clearing up. It's great out there. I had a busy weekend. I had a 5K for colorectal cancer awareness, and then I did a wine tasting, and then yesterday we had Vietnam War Veterans Day, and so at Mission Barbecue we gave out free sandwiches to all the Vietnam War veteran era people, and it was good. It was got about 50 people that came in that were veterans, so that was nice. Which means we're one store. There's probably 150 other ones, so a lot of free sandwiches.
Very, very cool what you guys do. So love seeing it. It's funny. We're driving through Canton on Saturday night. We're trying to pick a place to go, and we were going to drive to Blaze Pizza, and then I did not know that we actually had a Mission Barbecue there in Canton. So now I'm going to check it out. So
yeah, check it out. Get there at like 11:45.
That's the money.
The new anthem.
Oh, right. That's right. Remember you talking about that. So, all right. Well, let's get the show here started. Of course, you can watch our show live on YouTube, Facebook, and X, and we are 24/7 on YouTube. You can also check us out on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Pocket Cast, Podbean, and Castbox. So, all kinds of ways to check out Drive Time and the rest of the shows here on the Sideline Junkies Podcast Network. So, we're going to start with "Oh Say Can You Sing." Of course, I do not have the graphics available for me, but there were two anthems that we're going to go with. The first one was on Wednesday night. That was the game in San Francisco where Gerard Wilson, who was another Navy vet, sang again. Now, this was his second time singing. He did do game one of the NBA season in OKC. He scored very well. He got a 46. He got a 9 out of excitability, 10 on range, 10 in pitch, 8 in speed, 9 in style. I think he would have actually, which was the same score he got last time. So he doesn't move up or down. He stays at a 46, which is just in the top 10. But he would have probably scored even higher in this one because he started off really good. But then at the end, like the last one, he got a little runny, and then he almost forgot a word. He didn't forget the word, and he corrected himself. So I still gave him credit for that. So he gets a 46. Then, of course, there was the fun one for the first day game on Thursday when all the other games kicked in New York, which was Christopher Jackson. He played George Washington and Hamilton, and he completely screwed up. He forgot a whole entire line, and it's funny because you could tell about midway through when he realized, oh shit, I've already said this line. He had that oh shit moment during it. But he did. I will give him this because he rebounded and did find the rest of the anthem, but he still only gets a 34. So he gets a 7 for excitability, 9 for range and pitch, 7 for speed, and a 2 for style. Because if you screw up a line, that's going to take that style grade down. So that is the 4th lowest of the regular anthems. So we now have done 56 grades. We are at a 40.82 average, and Mr. Wilson sticks there at 46, so he is at the bottom part of our top 10 of all time. So that's this week's edition of Oh Say Can You Sing. We'll probably get some more when we get into the NHL playoffs and maybe the NBA playoffs. I'm hoping the NBC will actually show some of the anthems because TNT never did. So did you guys see either of the two anthems? And any thoughts on them?
Oh, me first? Okay. I did not. I saw the clips of it, but I just want to appreciate how mostly it was just from Mets fan POV and how they immediately panicked if this was a negative or positive sign for their season and how it was going to go. A lot of them thought their season was already screwed, and then a lot of people were trying to be positive, being like, hey, it's George Washington. Maybe it's a good sign and that sort. But I just had to give some kudos to that. That was pretty funny.
Yeah,
I love the Mets fans' reactions. They were the best. Like, season hasn't even started yet. We suck again. I mean, I love Mets fans because they do that all the time, and they're really exciting when they do it.
And if you remember too, at the start of that game too, Pittsburgh comes out and gets the 2-run homer. So they take a 2-0 lead in the first inning to really just double down on it. But they did immediately come back with 4 and run Paul Skeens out of the first inning. He pitched 2/3 of an inning in that first game, which was crazy as well. So they quickly
did take care of business.
Yes, they quickly rebounded, but it was fun for sure. So.
Now it's funny because I didn't know who he was. Like they said he was a Broadway, and I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And then it was said that I think you mentioned it to me, Showtime, that he played George Washington in the Hamilton show. But he did really the recovery at the end. That was like total like theater. Like they know how to recover.
They do, and he did because
they go.
So funny though, because you could see that look in his face that like, oh my God, I screwed up. But he quickly recovered and finished it. So I'll give him credit for that because I would have probably just cried and ran off the field myself. So not that anyone wants to hear me sing anyway. So
Marlene in while brushing my hair, which I just brushed my hair, so I thought that was kind of fun.
Yes, and you do that a
me
lot.
Too.
I do that a lot. I have to
run it through.
Yeah. Marlene, there's no brushing of my hair, unfortunately, for me. So, but thanks for joining us on the show. We like having some new folks on here for sure. So thanks for joining us. Yeah. All right, so let's get to the weekend drive-through here real quick, and then we'll hit some of the stuff from the highlights. First one is a little PGA action. Gary Woodland won the tournament in Houston, and Scooter, I'm going to turn this over to you because this is a pretty cool story.
Yeah, Gary Woodland, he's one of the nicest and most beloved players on the tour. He's really nice. He's got a wonderful, beautiful little family. He was from Kansas. He was actually, in high school, he was the all-state basketball player in Kansas, which was amazing. But he chose golf, and he went and played golf at University of Kansas. But he won the 2019. He only has 5 wins, and he hit the 5th one was just yesterday on the PGA Tour. One of his wins is the 2019 U.S. Open, and that was an amazing. He beat Brooks Koepka on that one, and that was at Pebble. So that was a real tough one for him. But then a few years later, he had a brain tumor, and so it was really messing with him. And so he was able to take drugs that controlled whatever was going on. However, it would make him nauseous and anxious and this and that. So it was finally like, okay, let's just get as much of this thing out of me as we can. And so he even wrote letters to his family in case he didn't make it through the surgery, because it was that tough of the surgery. And it was so tough that they had to leave a little piece of the tumor in because it was too close to parts that they couldn't mess around with. And that actually, he made an announcement a few weeks ago that he suffers from PTSD because of where that brain tumor is. It messes with his emotions, especially like fear and anxiety. So he made this announcement, and then he goes and does this. And he won yesterday, and he couldn't. There was, as you would say, you would have cried if you watched it because he was bawling his eyeballs out. His wife was so proud of him, and his little kids were so proud of him. And he actually, interestingly enough, a few years ago, his wife gave birth to a like 10-week premature baby because the other twin passed away inside of her. And and like a few years later, they had twin daughters, healthy, happy. I don't know what's going on with the twins there, but that's an interesting one itself. But it was really great to see. Great story, and best of luck for him coming up to the Masters coming up. So we'll see.
Yeah, that is definitely an awesome story for him and his family. Glad I saw like on Twitter like his reaction to it, which was like you said, very very touching and moving for sure. So that was cool, Sarah.
And let's put it to this point where like the PGA with Tiger Woods had a kind of a rough beginning to that weekend, but it ended wonderfully.
Yes,
where no one was talking about Tiger yesterday, they were all talking about this win. It was great.
Yep. And I think that's how we'll leave it too. There's no need to bring up the whole Tiger debacle again for sure. So, Sarah, any thoughts on it?
No, only just jokes about Tiger, but we won't go down that path.
Hey, you can give a quick Tiger joke. I'll let you.
But not just like saying like so Tiger wasn't there, right? But
right, there you go. That's good enough. Yeah. All right, so let's go on to the women's college basketball where we have half of the field set for the Final Four. UConn, of course, still continues their going crazy. UCLA also winning as a 1 seed. Could have all 4 number 1 seeds advance. Number 2, Michigan plays Texas tonight. Number 3, TCU plays South Carolina tonight. I don't see either one of those 1 seeds honestly losing. So it means we have the 4 number 1 seeds, but I still think this is everyone just playing to lose to UConn, and which will make my friend Ken Hamill very, very happy. We'll get to the UConn men, of course, here a little bit later. But also it's a good showing maybe for Michigan for tonight with what their guys team has done in both basketball and hockey. Any thoughts on the women's side?
I think South Carolina's got it actually for women's. I mean, they're a pretty strong team, I would say.
Was that your second pick after NC State loss?
Yeah. Can you tell? It's my second chance bracket, okay?
That's fine. You're allowed. Scooter, anything on the women's side?
I mean, the Lady Huskies and Gino, they've won 12 national championships, which is just crushing the next on the list. However, South Carolina is there. They have like 3 or 4. They're on that list, and they've been recent too. So they're very well coached by Dawn Staley. So, I mean, Dawn Staley, Gino Auriemma matchup would be pretty amazing. But I would think that they're going to get lucky number 13 this year. And just to say, like how popular UConn women are, not just the basketball in general. UConn women. Here we're going to go back to Hartford Civic Center. In the mid-'90s, in early '90s, when they were really blossoming up big, they would sell out with like 16,000 people going to those games. Well, 11,000 people were going to Hartford Whaler NHL professional hockey games there. So it just shows you how big women's basketball is in Connecticut.
Sarah, did you hear that Hartford was there twice? So you have to get that banner rolling there for us. We have two Hartford mentions there. So and while she pulls that up, well, let's get to the men's side here real quickly, of course, too. What can we say on the men's side? The lowest seed that's there is number 3 Illinois. They routed Iowa. They beat a good Houston team, crushed VCU and Penn to get there. Arizona's a 1 seed. They got by Purdue, crushed Arkansas, handed Utah State and Long Island. Michigan, gets by Tennessee pretty easily. Alabama, St. Louis, and Howard. UConn, of course, we'll get to the Duke game here, so we're going to end with that part. But they also got by Michigan State and UCLA and Furman. But UConn down 19 last night to Duke. They're down 72-70 with what I think was about 8 seconds left when Duke inbounds the ball. They have a little bit of trouble inbounding the ball. The turnover happens, and then Braylon Mullins hits the shot from just inside half court. It goes in with less than a second left to pull it out for UConn. They come all the way back, defeat Duke, and probably the best game of this tournament, which is good because up until that game, it really been kind of boring, honestly. The other matchups really weren't that close. So And again, a good shout from my buddy from UConn, from Ken, because with Ken, he is a huge diehard fan. So I immediately texted him afterwards because I was like, "How is the household? Is the house still shaking?" And he said, "Yes, you know it is." So shout out to him. I know he had to be jumping up and down with his wife and his daughter with that come from behind victory, especially over Duke because they live in Clayton, which is not that terribly far from Tobacco Road. Scooter, what you got?
Well, I mean, I grew up being a UConn men's basketball fan. In fact, I went to the NIT tournament in '86 when they won the tournament in, again, Hartford. And this shows you at the Hartford Civic Center, it was the Elite Eight game. Gosh, I forgot who they played. They beat West Virginia the week before on a Tate George tying game. And so then they went in, I think it was '87, but then they at the Hartford Civic Center, it was an Elite Eight game, and there were only like 8,000 people at that game. So to show you how far that team has come, now they have 6 national championships. They're 3rd all time, and they're about to get their 7th, and they're tied with UNC right now. In UConn, at UConn in Connecticut, it was always, it's late, it's great, it's Tate George from back in, beating Clemson in 1990. This thing, I mean, UConn and Duke have this big rivalry, at least in UConn's head. But this was the biggest win they've ever had in their history. That's not the championship. I mean, it was huge, humongous, and how they did it is unbelievable.
I agree with that completely. Sarah, any thoughts on it?
I mean, I'm totally okay with them overtaking UNC in their championship wins. That is totally okay with me. So I will root for that. But I do have Michigan pulling it through, although I believe Arizona is a pretty strong contender as well. I think just that matchup in general will be pretty difficult. And then obviously they just have to play UConn, and it goes from there. So we will see how it goes.
Agree. Any comments out there, Sarah, that we need, or nothing?
I mean, we can hit it for a little bit. Some little things to catch up on in North Carolina. UNC fired Hubert Davis. NC State didn't fire Will Wade, but Will Wade decided to leave to go to LSU. Now, of course, Pac fans are very upset, and I'm just kind of in the middle ground where I'm just so confused. I think we're trying to make it something dramatic. Dude wants to go back to LSU, whatever. Yes, he made all these promises. In the terms of Gen Z, he like love bombed us and then like ghosted us. But you know, it's fine. It's whatever. I do want to point out that LSU does have a crazy controversial coaching staff. You have now Will Wade with whatever this is going on, Lane Kiffin, and then Kim Mulkey.
Yep.
That's a choice. They have they have a pattern, and you know that's okay, I guess. But
I just watch LSU women's basketball just to see what Kim's wearing, because she has outrageous. Yeah. It's unbelievable. It's great.
There was this one post I said where like they were trying to describe it, and it was the lying, which was Will Wade, the witch, which I think is Lane Kiffin, and then the wardrobe, which is
that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. What?
Yep. Do we have any comments out there from anybody, or we clear? Because I can't see them.
I mean, NC State hires Tennessee's
Into the show, silly. Into the show. Are there any comments? Because I can't see them.
Anyone texting saying
yes.
No, I'm on top of that. Trust
Just
me.
making sure. All right. So why don't we do this?
I trust you.
Let's hit the commercial break, and then we'll come back and do baseball.
I forgot about that.
I'm putting her on the spot here.
Okay.
Don't forget about the ads.
That's right. Gotta. There you go. You did it. See?
I did it last time when I hosted by myself.
There you go. See, all right. Bring up the baseball banner for us here. So, our new segment, Line Drive, is what we're going to call this segment. We're going to start doing this every day with baseball, of course. So let's get into some of the opening day weekend. If you recall, last week when we did our baseball show, we talked about some rookies that had really good potential to go crazy. And what do you know? Like, 4 of the people that we mentioned had really good weekends. Kevin McGonigal and McGonigal, I don't know what that I went a little Harry Potter there for Detroit bat, 417, 5 for 12, 4 RBIs, 2 doubles, hasn't hit any homers yet. JJ Weatherholt for St. Louis, 308, 4 for 13, 1 homer, 4 RBIs. Jacob Mizrowski for Milwaukee, 11 Ks in 5 innings, only gave up 1 earned runs. But the star of the weekend was Chase DeLauter, who is the first player to have 4 home runs in 3 games for the Guardians since Trevor Story in 2016. And those are the only 2 players, folks, in history that had 4 home runs in their first 3 games. And he's also batting .353, went 5 for 17. So needless to say, a very strong weekend for the kids. Scooter, any thoughts on how the kids performed in the weekend?
I mean, not only did they perform so well, that your Cleveland Guardian, your new player there, when they were getting no hit, he in the 7th inning, I think it was, he ended the no hitter.
He did,
and then they got another hit, and that was it.
Yes, 2
stinking hits. That's all we got.
That's it yesterday. But hey, I'll still take a split in Seattle. That team's very good. Like this Guards road trip to start was 4 games against Seattle, 3 games against the Dodgers. Like I honestly said, if they went 2-5, I'd be okay. They've already got the 2. If they go 3-4, like I'm happy with that road trip against these 2 teams. Like I'll take a 3-4 road trip. So if we can get 1 against the Dodgers, I'm going to be very, very happy.
Oh, I don't blame you. They just need to score more runs. They're good, but they're not scoring enough runs.
Nope. But in fairness, Seattle's pitching is pretty good too. So I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt through the first 4 games. But then it's not like it gets any better either. They have to go face the Dodgers pitching staff too these next 3 games. So it's a brutal start for them as far as who they're having to pitch. So, Sarah, any thought on the rookies?
I mean, gotta go Chase DeLauter. DeLauter. You know who didn't do that? Aaron Judge.
There you go. That's right. DeLauter's better than Aaron Judge. That's what we can surmise after this weekend. So it was an interesting weekend for the ABS system, for that's where the players could challenge balls and strikes. About 54%, of the overall calls have been overturned. It seems that some teams have a better grip on it than others. What is interesting, a few umpires definitely have come out with some issues. And shockingly, these were the 3 same umpires that last year a lot of people questioned their calls. You had Chad Whitman, who had 7 challenges against his calls. All 7 were overturned, meaning that he missed 7 calls. CB Buckner had 8. He missed 6 of his, and Chris Siegel had 10, and he had 7 overturned. So those 3 umpires showed why the ABS system is around, because that is combined. My quick math says that's 20 calls that they missed that got overturned just in 3 umpires alone this weekend. So I think it shows that clearly the system works. I think it's going to have a more maybe of an impact than what Major League Baseball thought it was going to have. But I think it's a good thing. Like these calls need to be made right. So I'm all for it.
Yeah, I am all for it either. But I mean, then there was the Twins manager Shelton getting the toss. Did you see that one? That was insane because that won the game.
I did not see it, but I heard that a manager got tossed from it, which I found interesting. It's like, well, I thought these things are pretty much black and white. It's either in the box or it's not in the box. So,
the reason why he got tossed was because they just won the game, but then the other team, the Orioles, are like, "Can we look at it on the replay?" It was a ball strike thing.
Oh,
and so they reversed it, and then the Twins went from winning the game to losing the game because of the reverse call. So that's why he flipped his lid.
Well, but that's what's in place for, right? I mean,
right. But it makes sense. You're going to flip your lid.
True. But it is the Twins, and I don't mind them losing, so that's fine with me. So, any thoughts on the ABS, Sarah, or anything else to add on it?
No, I'm good. I don't really know much about it, but it is interesting to see the challenges appear more often.
Agree. And we did have some sweeps this weekend. The Yankees did sweep the Giants, unfortunately. They outscored the Giants 13-1 in doing so. So that just not looking good for the Giants. Toronto swept Oakland. Milwaukee swept the White Sox. Milwaukee scored 29 runs in 3 games while sweeping the White Sox. The Dodgers, of course, swept Arizona. Maybe a bit of a surprise, but maybe not, because we talked a little bit about Miami and that we thought they'd be a good team in the NL East, and they did sweep Colorado, which is a very, very bad team. So Miami sweeps the Rockies in their 3 games. All 3 of those games were 1-run games, so it's slightly different than what we had going on in Milwaukee. But yes, what that means is that 3 teams in the NL West got swept the first weekend: the Giants, the Diamondbacks, and the Rockies. So the LA Dodgers already have a 2-game lead in the division because San Diego also only won a game. The whole division almost got swept, other than the Dodgers. So
the Dodgers did do sweeping.
Yes, they did. That's what I mean. So,
so a lot of sweeps going on out there.
Yeah. So we'll granted, it's 3 games in, so we don't want to go too crazy into the standings just yet. But it was definitely an interesting first weekend, with those being the only sweeps out there for sure. So anything else you want to add on the baseball stuff from the weekend, Scooter, that you saw?
Well, it's interesting. Okay, so the Nats are 2-1 over the Cubs. Cubs are supposed to win the division. It's early, as you're saying. Milwaukee's crushing it. But here's an interesting thing. Washington has an outfielder named Joey Weimer. Excuse me. And so far he's on a new team. This is his new team. And this is the first time since 1961 that a player on a new team has gotten to base on all his first 8 times that he's been up. So you see that? Yeah, 6 hits, 2 walks. He has like two home runs, and it's going to be an interesting season in on the Potomac.
The funny thing for the Nats, or not funny thing, it's the only game I saw theirs this whole entire weekend was the game where they got blown out, and they looked like the Bad News Bears that second game. Like that
was bad.
They had it was like 3 balls that just dropped in the outfield in between guys. Like guys ran into each other. I was like, whoa! Like, is this going to be this bad all year long? But then, like you said, they end up taking 2 out of 3 in the series. So hey, if you're gonna screw up, do it all in one game.
And an interesting thing is tonight they start a series with Philly in Philly. So We'll see how that works out. I can't wait to watch tonight and then tomorrow. So that should be really exciting to see how Philly, they're supposed to be one of the winners of a division. So.
Yep. We will see how that all goes. Sarah, anything you want to throw out there from the baseball stuff?
No, I'm good.
No, you're good. All right. So why don't we do this? Let's go ahead here, because we're almost at 30 minutes in. So why don't you hit another commercial, and then we will get into the hockey.
Okay.
With the John.
My bad. I totally cut you off there, didn't I?
No, it's fine. I was hoping it was the John Carpenter music, and it wasn't, so it didn't matter.
Well, she's playing the other ad, so instead. So, all right, hit the drive to
I
the
haven't
net.
found the other. Oh, never mind. I see it now.
I thought I put them in order. I tried to put them in order.
I'm just a little slow. It's okay though.
That's okay. Hey, you didn't know you were going to have to do this, so we'll forgive you this time. So, anyway, our the men's Frozen 4, we are set. There you go. There it is. So we're set on the men's Frozen 4. Michigan wins the Albany bracket. They took care of Bentley 5-1. They also got by Minnesota Duluth 4-3. They were up 3-0 and 4-1 in that game. Minnesota Duluth comes back. They make it a 1-goal game with 3 minutes to go, but couldn't get the tying goal in. They get Denver, who upset the defending champs of Western Michigan yesterday 6-2. They also beat Cornell 5-0. So they have outscored their opponents 11-2 so far. So Denver's playing really well. They get Michigan. That should be a really, really good matchup. So yes, if the women's Michigan team makes it into the Final Four, the Michigan will have all three of their big teams in their Final Four. The women's team, basketball team, the men's basketball team, and their hockey team has made it into the Frozen Four. So Michigan's having a very nice run for sure. Wisconsin upsets Michigan State. Michigan State was up in this game 3-1 in the third period. They were kind of dominating, and then all of a sudden, Wisconsin gets one of those goals, makes it 3-2. They get the goal late to tie it. They score the goal with 46 seconds into overtime. So after they beat Dartmouth 5-1, they come back. They upset Michigan State. So Wisconsin still has the hope of sweeping the hockey, because if you recall, the women's hockey team won the national championship, and the men's team is still alive. They're going to get the number 2 seed overall. They get North Dakota. They beat Merrimack 3-0. Which was a closer game than actually what it was, because at one point in time it's 1-0. Merrimack appears to score a goal. And look, I'm a referee. I've been there before. He loses sight of the puck, or assumes that, I think he thought that the goalie was definitely going to get his glove on it first, goes for a quick whistle. We've all done it. He doesn't get the puck covered. The puck ends up in the net, but he blew the whistle. It's no goal. It is what it is. Every official has been out there. We all feel like shit when it happens. But that's what we're supposed to do. You lose sight of the puck, you blow it dead. They beat Quinnipiac. Then in the second game, they just destroyed them 5-0. So North Dakota has not given up a goal yet in the Frozen Four. So they advance. So you got North Dakota against Wisconsin, Michigan against Denver. Should be a very fun weekend on the ice. And this is going to be out in Vegas. We'll get more into Vegas here in a little bit. But good stuff for sure. Any thoughts on the men's Frozen Four, Scooter?
I don't. The only thing that I can say is every time I went to watch one of the games, it was always in like the second or third period, because that's when I was able to get to them. I mean, there was a blowout going on, so I'm just like, all right, so I'll watch a few minutes of this, see what happens. But yeah, I mean, kind of the usual suspects are coming into play with the men's, that's for sure. And then poor Quinnipiac, they didn't make it. And UConn was getting there, but they didn't make it either. So
yeah, they had they lost in the first round. Not really surprised when they because they lost to Michigan State, but it was a close game. I think it was 3-1 was the final score in that first one. So they played Michigan State tough, but just don't quite have the horses to beat the Michigan States out there yet.
And it is, being an old Connecticut guy, it's really great to see UConn do well in hockey.
Yep.
Because that's a big thing, and it should be more of a hockey state, and it's not, unfortunately. But this will help. UConn used to have these guys, the Krieger brothers. Todd Krieger used to be a Capital and a Whaler. So that was, I mean, they did have something that was kind of a pipeline, if you will. But it's really good to see them doing it, because they had a good season last year too.
Women's team had a good show this year too. They made it to the tournament. So UConn hockey is definitely on the rise, which really scary to think about where the basketball program is, that they can get the hockey program to that type of level. That's really good. So
they just have to worry about football now.
Yeah, exactly. And that's, hey, they made a bowl game, what, last year or 2 years ago?
But they're independent.
They are. That's right. Well, now we'll save that for another day. Sarah, any thoughts on the Frozen Four on the men's side?
I think I heard Teddy trying to give his predictions in there.
Yeah, he's having he did actually nap though today for a little bit, but now mommy and daddy are home, so he's having a good old time out there. So I do want to touch this real quick, and this is I don't think I sent you a banner on this. So Mercyhurst, which is a small school in Erie, Pennsylvania, they are ending their Division I program. They just announced that. They have been a D1 school since 1999-2000. They won the MEAC, the MAAC a couple times. They did advance to a couple different Frozen Fours. Now they were playing in the Atlantic Hockey America League. Had an okay season this year. But they have decided to call the program quits, and the reason why is because they just can't compete NIL-wise and money-wise with the other programs. So Mercyhurst has a really good ACHA program, which is the club hockey level, which is where, I call it the glorified beer league, because the guys all pay to play. That the school really doesn't give them much money, if any at all, for the ACHA teams. But they end their Division I. And so my question is this: is this a sign of what we're going to maybe see with other mid-majors, not just in hockey? Are we going to start seeing this across other sports, where these mid-majors realize they cannot compete with the big boys anymore and can't fund a program, because I think this could be a sign of what we could see happen in basketball, and especially in football, where teams either drop out of D1 and go to D2, D3, or just drop their football programs completely because they just can't compete with the NIL money anymore. What do you think, Scooter?
Oh.
Well, I mean, University of Hartford just a few years ago went from Division I to Division III to save money, and but
Sarah, that's another Hartford count,
and that was with every sport. But another thing that goes with that too is these schools, they have the NIL thing is a big deal, but they have certain funds where they maybe some of the women's programs are getting better, so they want to spend more on that, and that could become a big thing. And if they're not generating, the best thing maybe is to just end one of their sports. It happens. Tennis happens all the time. Swimming happens all the time, to get money for other programs. So, it's not from what I know, it's not the entire school leaving Division I.
No, it's not. Program. It's just the hockey team, correct?
Right. So there's that.
Sarah, what you got?
I think it more so just relates to funding. I mean, down here in North Carolina, like you have the Ice Pack and you have UNC down here, and they've been doing fine in the ACC hockey. I think there's just like a bunch of like just smaller teams, and then we just have that championship where it's like more so just like the main one. I think you see like obviously like where the teams where they do invest more of their funding into it. I think it just relates to funding. I mean, you can drop your division to save that sort of money, but I mean, you still see smaller teams, I think, making it. It just depends how much money you want to put in. I mean, we know how expensive hockey is as a fan itself. So, I mean, funding can be difficult for it. So, I mean, that's just a bigger conversation in the NCAA where, okay, how much money can we put into this for teams to develop their players and their programs? And I mean, it's a bigger conversation, but I still think it more so revolves around funding than just not being able to play against the big guys.
Well, don't forget too now the folks from Canada who originally your choice was either you played juniors in Canada or you played college hockey in the U.S. You really couldn't do both. Now you can. They've changed the rules, so you could go from juniors up in Canada and then now still come back down and play in the States. So these bigger schools too now have the opportunity to pull players from places they never did before either. And guess what they're giving them? They're giving them NIL deals to do so. So it's going to be interesting to see how this changes the hockey landscape. It's sad for a school like Mercyhurst, who I've seen their team play a few of the times. So it'll be interesting to see. I hope this isn't a sign for mid majors and other sports, but that's going to be my fear that we may see that. We shall see. All right, let's get into some NHL talk here. We're going to start with probably the big breaking news, which happened last night for some reason with about, 10 games, I think, left on their schedule. The Vegas Golden Knights fired Bruce Cassidy. He won the cup for them in 2023 after leaving Boston. They have not missed the playoffs with him. The Vegas is going to make the playoffs this year. Now, granted, they are having a bit of a disappointing year. They're 32, 26, and 18 with the 18 is the overtime losses, so they got the 18 loser points. So they're at 78 points. I guess you can make an argument, if not for the overtime losses, they may not be a playoff team this year, and they've been kind of up and down. I am shocked, though, that they fired Cassidy with this little time left. They do bring in John Tortorella. Torts has a very long history in coaching. He's always known to be a hard coach. What's interesting too is the only thing he's got the 8 games in the playoffs, and that's all Vegas has committed for Torts. So it's just interesting. I think we're going to hear more from this once the season ends. Something had to happen. You just don't fire your coach with 20 days left in the season when you're a playoff team. I've never seen it before. I can't remember a time that's happened before this close to the playoffs start. You've had teams that do it at the All-Star break and then they got on a roll, but this isn't that. Like, this is you're at the end now. So Scooter, what are your thoughts on this? Because I know you know the GM for Vegas from his days in Washington, with George McPhee. So what are your thoughts on this and the timing of it?
Well, it's interesting because George McPhee was the general manager in Washington with the Capitals, who hired Bruce Cassidy in the first place, which it was a magnificent failure. In fact, when Cassidy came in to meet the team, he pulls out a napkin with the plays on it. And people are like, this guy's a coach. And they all didn't like him. Years later, he became a great coach. So I was really happy to see that. But, of course, he got fired by what's his face? McPhee. He got fired by McPhee. But so years later, when George McPhee is the general manager of the Vegas Knights, he brings him in. But now he is now. It's actually Kelly McCrimmon is the GM, who is he's doing a fine job. And George McPhee is the president of hockey operations, so he basically runs the whole thing. So he fired him again. So he gets to hire him. He's hired him twice and fired him twice. There's one more thing I want to bring out about so close to the Vegas doing this kind of thing. You got to remember they fired Gerard Gallant like 8 months after he won the Coach of the Year and took the team to the Stanley Cup playoffs who lost to Washington Capitals. So you look at a few years ago, they had the Vezina Trophy winning his first and only Fleury, and then they just gave up on him and let him go somewhere else.
Yep.
So they do move, but then to get to the last part is Torts. Okay, Torts is a really good coach early. Like after 3 years, his players are like, this sucks. But his first year or two, players buy in real quick and they like him. So this
didn't happen in Philly this last time. He could never get that run going in Philly. But so
Philly's got some problems. They still got problems.
Agree. That's the truth for sure. So, Sarah, what were your thoughts on when we saw the Cassidy news breakdown while you were here yesterday? We were both like, "What the hell is this?"
It's definitely strange for sure. I still question things about Torts and his coaching style and abilities. I don't really know if he's an upgrade from Bruce Cassidy. I feel like there's definitely more that went down where they're not like telling us. But in the same sense, I mean, they've always kind of been like a hardcore team. Like if they're not the best, then they usually have a coaching change. I mean, they're not doing terrible. They're third in the division, but then again, that's the Central Division, and the Central Division is ass. So it's like it's this whole thing. I think it will be interesting to see how the players in Vegas deal with Torts. Like, I mean, you have to think about it. Mitch Marner, he was traded there under Bruce Cassidy, and now you're telling me he has to deal with Torts. I don't know how to feel about that. I don't know how to feel about a Mitch Marner-Torts duo right there.
Yeah, that's going to be fun. That's especially this little time. It's hard. I don't even know how you really can't build your system in 8 games. I don't know that you can. So I don't know. I don't know how. It's going to be interesting to watch. That's for sure. That first game for Vegas, I think they play tomorrow night. It's going to be a must-see TV. I'm going to have to watch at least a period of it just to see what the response is going to be to this, because it could go very well, or it could just completely backfire on them. And I don't know what I want. I'm not sure. I think I want it to backfire because Vegas has had so much success. I think I want to kind of watch it explode in their face. But I think it's going to do well because these things always seem to do well for Vegas.
Now let's not forget that the reason he went to Vegas was in Vegas in the first place because he was made available after the Bruins fired him. Right. And he led the Bruins to the Stanley Cup Finals. They didn't win. He led them to 100-point seasons, got the President's Trophy. He won the Jack Adams Trophy. He goes to the playoffs. He loses to the Carolina Hurricanes. He gets fired the next day.
Right.
So this happens to him.
Yep. Yeah, which is interesting. I mean, and let's be honest, he won't be without a job long. Like someone
Right.
will hire him probably this offseason. Someone will
Yeah.
fire a coach, and you'll see Bruce Cassidy get named a coach. So we do also, getting off of that subject, we got some chase for 50 goals going on here. We got two players very, very close. Nathan McKinnon is at 48 for Colorado. They have, I think, 12 games left to play, so he should get to 50. Cole Caulfield out in Montreal having a hell of a year. He's at 46. They've got 10 games to play. Again, should get. He's got a good shot at 50. He should get there. So we got a couple guys that should hit 50. And just like for anyone that's out there listening that isn't the biggest hockey fan, 50 goals is just like 50 homers in MLB. It's the plateau number to hit. If you hit 50, you've had yourself one hell of a year, which just makes some of the numbers that Gretzky put up way back in the day even crazier. But we'll save that for another day. So, Scooter, any thoughts on McKinnon or Caulfield hitting 50?
I mean, I think they both will as long as it's going on. I know that we were fine watching Kucherov kind of get close on like points sides. We can get to that later, but I think that I think both of them will make 50.
Agree. Sarah?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, they just we've had two games with Montreal with the Carolina Hurricanes, and we've not been able to win against them. I mean, their goaltending is just great, and Carolina's offense, it does try, but it just isn't enough against that team. Which, as of right now, Montreal is third in the division, so we won't have to play them immediately. They have to go through Buffalo first, and then I think they have to go through whoever wins, with Tampa, who's Tampa versus whatever wild card, and then it goes to us. So we'll see if that even happens. But I've seen Cole Caulfield play. He's a great player. It's great to see such young. It's like Montreal's a very young and talented team. Youth is one of their, I would say, talents in their roster. Like, it's just something they're very strong on. So yeah, we'll see how it goes, but I think both of those players will be able to hit that mark.
I agree. And the race for the Art Ross is really down to three players. McKinnon has, Connor McDavid leads at 124 points. Nikita Kucherov for Tampa Bay right behind at 121, and then McKinnon comes in at 117. Those are the three big ones. Celebrini, who's having a great year for San Jose, is at 98, so he should hit the 100-point plateau. Again, 100 points is kind of like the 50-goal mark. You get a 100-point season, you've done well. So this is going to come down to McDavid and Kucherov. I think I kind of like Kucherov to come all the way back in time, just because McDavid doesn't have Draisaitl with them for the last 10 games or so that they have left. But we'll see. 3 points is still a lot to make up to. You can go on a little cold spell and be in trouble. So does Connor McDavid go back to back, or do either one of you guys think that Coochie or McKinnon can catch him?
Coochie. I think Kucherov's got it. McDavid has had enough Art Rosses. Okay, look, give it to somebody else. Okay, I don't know why I'm going all Donald Trump with my hands, but just Nikita Kucherov, I think he'll catch up to McDavid, and I think he'll be able to pull it off. Edmonton is a concerning team, and you have to think that McDavid doesn't have Draisaitl anymore, which is probably where he gets a lot of his points from. So I would say Nikita Kucherov is in a better place, especially since they're more comfortable in the playoffs right now. I mean, they're number one in the Atlantic. You have Edmonton, who's third, I believe.
Yes, I think you're correct. No, second.
No, second.
Second. Yeah.
So,
second.
I mean, and they have to go against Vegas. So, I mean, it's very interesting to see. Well, if everything sticks, anything can change. Anything can happen. But I would say Tampa's better off right now. So I would see Nikita Kucherov catching up.
Scooter?
So these are always interesting back in the early and mid 90s when you had Lemieux and Gretzky and Hull and all these great players. I mean, they'd be up like 150, 160 points. Like everybody in the league at that time was like doing 100 points. I remember getting hockey cards with the 100-point. They would have 100, and it was like its own set because there were so many players that were. And then all of a sudden, goalie pads got bigger. and then goalies got better, and then and they thought they were after what was it in 2004, after they had the lockout, they thought they were going to make, oh, this is gonna be great, it's gonna be speedy, but no, the goalies were just bigger and better.
Yeah, they're just more and more athletic.
But to get back to the point is, I think if and when McDavid gets 50, I think he's going to get assists with that stuff too. So I think he's a lock for the Art Ross. And also Kucherov, there's something up with Kucherov. He's missed a game. He may miss another game. And I don't know what's going on, because he had all that time to rest when the Olympics are going on. So there's something up. He may miss more games.
Yeah, you could be right about that. And obviously he misses games, and they can't catch him. So
yeah.
Good call on that. So, I was going to have this nice little graphic up for the standings and stuff. So we're going to do the best that we can here, given to you verbally. So, Eastern Conference, Tampa Bay and Buffalo are tied at 98 points in the Atlantic. Tampa Bay has played 73 games. Buffalo has played 74. So Tampa has a game in hand. Montreal is in third at 94. That's your top three in the Atlantic. In the Metro, Carolina is still comfortably in front at 98 points. The Islanders and Pittsburgh are at 89 and 88 points. So those are your three teams that get in the division. Your two wild cards right now are Boston in the Atlantic at 92 points. So they're only 2 points behind Montreal. And Columbus is still in it at 88 points. They are technically behind Pittsburgh because Pittsburgh has won 2 more games in regulation. Pittsburgh also has a game in hand. So right now, Pittsburgh's in the 3 spot in the Metro. Columbus gets the second wild card. You have 4 teams still in it in the hunt. You got Ottawa at 86 points, 2 behind Columbus. Detroit and Philly also at 86 points. So you have 3 teams, 2 points back. And then you have the Washington Capitals hanging in there. They're still 5 points back at 83. So I'm not calling them dead yet. But they're going to need some help, because again, it's one thing to be 5 points back of one team. It's another thing to be 5 points back of 4 teams, where not only do you got to go on they probably realistically in their 8 games got to go on a 7-1, maybe 6-2 run, but they're going to need help. Like, you need those teams all to play 500 or worse if you go 6-2. So it's going to be hard, but it's not impossible if they're playing good hockey. The good thing that Washington has, if you're a Washington fan, they have 31 games in regulation. Detroit only has 28. Philadelphia only has 23 wins in regulation. So if you get into a tiebreaker with those teams, Washington's in good shape there. I don't know what to think on Carolina. It seems like we're seeing the same things already, where goaltending, and not that Freddie was bad last night, he just wasn't as good as Dobosh was in Montreal. And the lack of scoring is already starting to show. So we'll see. We'll see who they match up with. We'll go from there. I'm not going to quite hit the panic button yet, but Carolina fans are concerned, and I get it. I have the same concerns over what we're seeing so far. The Islanders seem to be dead. They're now in second place, but man, the battle for these last 2 wild cards are going to be fun for sure. So let's go with Scooter first. What are your thoughts on the East?
So the whole thing now is you're talking about the wild card. So, and then, you're saying, Caps have to go like 6-2 and that kind of thing. So a rundown of all these teams is like, Caps are 6-2, Philly's 8-1,
right.
Detroit's 4-5, Ottawa 6-3. And these are all past 10 games. I'm not counting the overtime losses. Columbus 5-3, Boston 6-2, Pittsburgh 4-4. Islanders 6-4. So the Caps all do have trouble, because there are teams in front of them that are winning too.
Yep.
So, and at this point last week when we talked about it, the Caps are 6 games out of that final playoff. Now they're 5 games. So in 1 week, they've won a few games. They've only caught up one point. Got 1 point.
Yep.
So it's going to be difficult.
Yep. Sarah, what do you got on these?
I would think obviously Carolina is pretty comfortable. I was so I told my dad several times this weekend, why have we not clinched yet? But he explained it to me how, the Eastern Conference has way more better teams, which, we knew this, but dear God, Carolina has 98 points. They're going in the playoffs. It would take a miraculous, well, you know what, I can't even say that because I don't know how confident I feel about us playing right now, but it's fine. I don't know. I would say that Carolina is pretty comfortable in there. So that's a good match. And then I believe that means we would play Columbus right now, if I'm looking at that correctly.
Yes, we would play Columbus, which I don't want to have happen. I'll be honest. I want to avoid Columbus because of how good Columbus is playing right now. So I'd like to avoid Columbus. I think
officially Tampa Bay is first in the conference. Officially,
correct. Yes, because they're have
all tied up with everything.
And Tampa Bay has 4 more wins in regulation. So yeah, so actually we would get Boston. Tampa would get Columbus if it ended today.
Yep.
I don't know how I would feel about Boston.
But it doesn't end today.
Right. Boston I'm okay with. I think Boston, the Islanders, and Pittsburgh are teams that we match up with well. Montreal and Columbus I have concerns about. So but we'll see. All right. Any other thoughts on the East out there, guys, before we get to the West?
New Jersey is definitely out of this.
Oh right? yeah, they're done. I declared them dead last week. So
right. I'm sorry. I'm so fine.
Yep. So in the West, I've now Calgary and Chicago are now officially dead. So the Central is still the Central. Colorado 106, Dallas 100, Minnesota in third at 94. The Pacific, Anaheim is doing pretty well. They're at 86 points. Edmonton is, I'll admit, without Draisaitl, they've still been pretty good these last, this last little stretch. They've not fallen off that much. They're at 83 points. Vegas, who we talked about earlier, sitting there now at 80 points. Utah seems like they're in a good spot. They are at 82 points. They are in the first wild card. Nashville is the leader of the pack at 77 points for the second wild card. However, thanks to the St. Louis Blues going on a 7-1-2 run, you now have 6 teams within 4 points for the final wild card spot. You have Nashville at 77 points, LA at 76, Seattle at 75. Winnipeg has come back into this thing too at 74. San Jose's kind of fallen off a little bit at 73, and St. Louis at 73. So buckle up, folks, because that is going to be a fun race. It looks like 6 teams battling out for one spot of Las Vegas just completely collapses, and then maybe one of those teams in the Pacific can catch Vegas, but none of those teams that are in the Pacific right now. I mean, LA's the closest, 4 points back, then Seattle 5 points back. So, Scooter, what do you got on the West?
Well, the Kings have a problem with they only have 29 regulation wins.
Yeah.
They have like 837 overtime losses. Yeah. But they're in this mix. I mean, you got teams that have 3 more wins in regulation, like Seattle. So, I mean, if they've got those guys tie up, like the Kings do not want, they need to streak it up. But yeah, St. Louis doing that thing, Chip should be happy.
I'm sure he is. Sarah, any thoughts on the West?
I don't. Okay, so we're talking about, obviously, I think I said earlier that the Central Division was ass. I meant the Pacific. I don't know why I said that. The Central Division is what's freaking God work right now. You were talking about the overtime games. Why does Vegas have 16 overtime losses? That is where 16 of their points came in.
Well, you might want to ask Butch Cassidy.
Right.
Maybe that's what it was.
Butch Cassidy.
Can't win in overtime. You got problems.
Yeah. I mean, hey, it's true. It's the same thing with LA, right? They're sitting there. They only got 29 wins, but they got 18 overtime losses. That's where a lot of their points come from. So, look, I mean, we can talk about changes for the overtime points. Look, I think this is why a lot of people are talking about doing the 3-2-1-0 because it gives more to these teams that can win in regulation. So it'd be interesting. I'll do that. Maybe I'll do that for next show. I'll do the math of if the 3-2-1 was going on, what would the standings look like? Would it change anything?
I can do math.
Yeah, but that's like Well,
I'm doing trig. Are you about to say that's like different? I'm doing trigonometry.
You can do it if you want to do that for next week. Have it ready to go for next week. So that's like quick math though, because you got to look at the wins and regulation. You got to figure that out.
I will take quick math. Take quick math over trigonometry right now.
Okay? I don't blame you for that. So
it's like a kindergarten field day.
some big games this week. Now, look, any team involving these teams are obviously big games. So I just picked a few. Like you could make an argument that any team that has one of these games in it would be a big game, and that's way too much to do very quickly. So you got tonight, Pittsburgh at the Islanders.
Huge game.
So that is the battle for second place. If you recall what I said, the Islanders are at 89 points. Pittsburgh is at 88 points. That is tonight. St. Louis battles San Jose. Both of those teams at 73 points. So, that's one of those games where the winner of that game wants to win that game in regulation, no overtime. Wednesday night, St. Louis then goes to LA. Another battle of those teams right there on the outside. Thursday, Buffalo, who's kind of starting to come back just a smidge. They're still playing overall very, very well. They go to Ottawa. Ottawa's 2 points out. Then next Saturday, you got a lot of games that are going to be must-see TV. Colorado plays Dallas. Not that they're in the battle for playoff positioning. That's just the one. That's just the 1 versus 2. Whoever. That's their last regular season matchup. They're going to want to set the table for what's to come in the playoffs. Boston goes to Tampa. Buffalo goes to Washington. Vegas goes to Edmonton, a big battle in that Pacific, and Nashville goes to San Jose. So next Saturday's got a lot of fun games coming up for sure. So as we wrap up the NHL, anything else, Scooter, you want to throw out there on the NHL side of things?
No, for me, I think we touched everything. Just it's a big week. It's a big week, as you were saying.
Yep. Sarah,
when we talk about it next week, it'll be a lot different.
It will. We're going to be down to about 13 days left next week. So,
yeah.
Sarah, anything else on it?
How many teams do we think are going to be clinching by then? Because that's
I think we should see quite a few. You're gonna have the. I think Tampa, Buffalo. It looks like, if my quick math is correct, Tampa, Buffalo, and Carolina all just need like a combination of 2 more wins or Ottawa, Detroit losses.
Yeah.
So. Not too shabby at all. So those teams should all clinch. You're probably going to see Minnesota shouldn't be too far behind out west. It'll be a while for the Pacific. So, yeah, we should see probably about 3 or 4 teams that have officially clinched the spot, I think, by next Monday.
Gotcha.
All right. So down the road, let's hit that real quick. We're looking at our next show, of course, be next Monday, April 6th. We will have the men's final, so we'll do a little bit more of a stronger preview of the men's final. We'll know who won the Frozen Four. We'll have 10 days left in the NHL season, and we'll have a full week of baseball to kind of digest and see, where we look in here after teams have got a few more games under their belt. April 13th, I think that's going to be our playoff show for the NHL. It's going to be interesting because technically the regular season doesn't end to the 16th, but I really don't want to run it into the April 20th, the mock draft show. I want to keep those two separate because or else we're going to have like a 4-hour show, and we can't do that. So that's the hope. April 13th, we should hopefully know enough to be able to do a decent preview show. And then April 20th is the People's Mock Draft coming up. And then, of course, on the network in and of itself, we got the Pretenders and Contenders coming up here at 7 tonight. Unapologetic Sports tomorrow at 6:30. The guys are great on there. Tuesday Night Flight at 8. Nothing But Net for your NBA, and I'm sure they will talk a lot of college basketball too at 7:30 on Wednesday. Then you got the Thursday Night Throwdown at 8, the WrestleManiacs Saturday at 9, and then the Sunday Rise at 11. So that is what you have here on the Sideline Junkies Podcast Network. Basically, we got you covered for any sport that you like. Scooter, any last second thoughts?
Yeah, this is gonna be a really fun week with a lot of different sports. So let's get ready for the ride.
Yep. I agree with you completely. Sarah, anything for you?
No, but I do have a comment before we end here.
Okay.
Anthony, welcome back. Question for all of you. Would you be shocked if my Panthers stick with drafting a player from Finland after this success with both Barkov and Lundell?
I wouldn't blame anyone for drafting a player out of Finland, to be honest with you. There's a couple good Finns that are coming out. Once of course, right now too, you still don't know the draft order, so you gotta wait to see where the draft order goes. From all accounts, this draft seems to be good on players that would fit the role of that. The third line, fourth line doesn't seem to be a deep draft as far as like, oh, this guy's going to be amazing. And like, that first, second line talent, from what I've seen from most of the prospects, that seems to be the 27 draft is going to be loaded with talent. So we'll see. We will get into that where once we get done with the playoffs, Anthony, we'll do we did it last year too, where we kind of did I don't think we did a mock draft for the NHL, but we went through all the picks and what we liked and what we didn't like. So I think we'll probably do that more so than anything. But yeah, we can look at that a little bit closer. But it's never a bad idea to draft a player from Finland. They just do really well in the NHL. I mean, Sebastian Aho, like you said, you got the success that they've had in Florida in and of itself. But the Finns do well in NHL. That the games move over pretty good. Scooter, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, if they got a player there wherever they're drafting, and he's from Finland, and he should be in that range, you pick him.
Yep.
Looking at just like a couple of prospect rankings so far, you got Oliver Savanto, who's Finland. He's a center, 6'3", 207. I feel like that could be a pretty good fit if we're going with the Finland guy.
I don't know that he's going to make it that far, though. I
don't know either. But like
from what I've seen, he's projected top 5, and I don't think Florida's going to fall. Oh well, you do at the lottery, so there is a shot. But
I mean,
if they get
Florida's going
it
to
would
not
be
make
unreal.
playoffs, so
yeah,
They're gonna win the lottery.
If Florida wins a lot, because I think he's supposed to be a top 5, and I don't think that he's going to survive. He should not be there when Florida picks.
They should seriously just start the NBA tanking now for the pant, like ultra tank. Oh my God, everyone's foot hurts.
Oh, this is a fun name, Simon Katalicki. That's
nice.
That's a fun one.
I like that.
Okay, now I'm just going down a rabbit hole. I need to stop.
Yes.
Okay.
Listen, UC Yoganen, calm down.
Any other comments out there before we say goodbye, Sarah? Or is that it?
Nah, that was
All right. Well, thanks for checking in, Anthony. We did give a shout to your Miami Marlins earlier in the show, so you can watch that back.
They're doing good. They're doing good.
So
at the Orange Bowl, their home stadium.
We gave them some love. So
they need more fans. They need more fans there, Anthony.
They do.
Get your butt and your friends over there. They can't do like 9,000 anymore.
Damn.
Sarah, you missed this because you left for the Guards home opener on Friday. Layla Edwards is going to be giving the first pitch, so she's coming home I can't wait to see that. She's going to get a hell of the Cleveland native gold medal winner for Team USA. She's going to be at the Guards game on Friday night.
Are you going?
Yes, we're going. Of course we're going. Are we going? Of course we're going. It's the home opener.
You better send a video. Or
I know. I started thinking about that. It's like, damn it! If you just would have come in, if it would have come a week earlier, but your flight would have been in trouble for that anyway, because that flight's always in at like 4.
Later. I offered that to you. I was like, do you want me to come for Easter because I would have a longer time? I have Easter break, and you were like, no.
You wouldn't have been able to do it anyway.
This is on. It's all your fault.
It's my fault. Damn it!
Is that where you fly into over there, John Glenn?
She flies into Canton, Akron because the flight on Breeze is really cheap, but they don't go to Cleveland, thank God. And I will come and get anybody that flies into Canton, Akron, so I don't have to go to the Cleveland airport. It's just a nightmare. I hate going there.
Yeah. Well, anything with John Glenn, for talking baseball, that was Ted Williams was his wingman in Korea for a little bit. So that's
right.
I mean, John Glenn's one of the great Americans of all time.
Speaking of flying, I survived the RDU Terminal 1 bomb threat today.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, she got in there right after that happened. She was like one of the first planes to land after that happened. That made the news here in Cleveland, Sarah. I forgot to tell you. So that's like, oh, hey, yeah, I know about that.
Nobody has officially said it's a bomb threat, but we're pretty certain.
What else is it going to be, right?
Yeah.
You close the whole entire terminal for 2 hours. There's a good idea of what the threat was.
Yeah,
I bet there were a lot of cute puppy dogs sniffing around there.
Yes.
I was stuck on a plane for 45 minutes, Scooter. I was home. I was just stuck on the plane.
I've done that before too, and it gets real hot on those airplanes if it's in the summer.
Yeah.
I was just getting crowded. I was in a middle seat. Thank God one person next to me didn't show up, but I was like, get me out,
nice.
get me out.
All right.
Claustrophobia until
We're at 6:11 now. We got to go. Sarah, any thoughts before we say goodbye? All right. We'll end it with how I always end it. Make sure you tell your loved ones that you love them. Give them a hug because tomorrow is not guaranteed. But hopefully you'll be back here next Monday with us, and hopefully you'll check out the rest of the shows here on the Sideline Junkies Network podcast network. But until then, we will say bye-bye, adios. Sarah, hit the end show button. You got to hit it.
I know.